In the glittering world of Los Angeles, Billie Eilish's life was moving at an unstoppable pace. A record-breaking world tour had taken her around the globe for 6 months straight. From Tokyo to Rio, London to Sydney, she had thrilled millions of fans, breaking her own records with every concert. Yet, beneath all this success, there was always an emptiness inside the young star. Even on stage, with thousands of fans singing along to her songs, she often felt lonely. When she finally returned to her home in Los Angeles, her brother Finneas was there to meet her at the airport. "Welcome home, little sister," he said, hugging a visibly exhausted Billie. "We missed you." Billie's house was a masterpiece of modern architecture blended with vintage charm. However, no matter how beautiful it was, she had recently started to feel like a stranger there. Perhaps that was why she decided to visit her manager's office early the next morning. At least there, she could distract herself by reading messages from her fans. Sarah, Billie's manager with over 20 years of experience, greeted her at the door. "Don't you need to rest?" she asked with concern, noticing the fatigue on Billie's face. "Reading my fans' messages is how I rest," Billie replied as she headed towards Sarah's desk. The desk was piled high with hundreds of letters. Some came in fancy envelopes, others in handmade postcards, and a few were written on simple pieces of paper. That's when she noticed a particular envelope, written in blue ink. In the corner, there was a small drawing of a guitar, not skillfully done but heartfelt. As Billie opened the envelope, a Polaroid photo slipped out and floated to the ground. Picking it up, she found herself looking at the smiling face of a young girl holding an old acoustic guitar. The house in the background was modest, but the warmth radiating from the photo was undeniable. The letter was from Mia Thompson, a 16-year-old high school student from Whispering Pines, a small town in Montana. As Billie began reading, her world started to shift. "Dear Billie," the letter began. "As I write this, I'm sitting in my room when the party's over, playing in the background. Outside, Montana's typical autumn rain is falling, and the leaves from the maple tree by my window are drifting down. I've been waiting 3 weeks to write this letter. Every night before bed I tried to start, but I couldn't find the right words. How can you explain how someone's music has changed your life?" In her letter, Mia shared her family's struggles over the past year. Her mother, Emily, had begun complaining of constant fatigue a year ago. Initially, everyone thought it was just work-related stress. Emily was the music teacher at the town's only elementary school and was passionate about her job. But one day, during a choir rehearsal at school, she collapsed. That's when they realized the situation was serious. The diagnosis was grim, aggressive lymphoma. They had to travel 3 hours to the nearest big city for treatment. Around the same time, Mia's father, Thomas, lost his job when the local lumber mill shut down due to the economic downturn. Having worked there for 20 years, he suddenly found himself unemployed. "My dad goes out every morning looking for work," Mia wrote. "When he comes home at night, I can see the hopelessness in his eyes, though he tries to smile. My mom listens to your songs on the way to her chemotherapy sessions. Her favorite is Everything I Wanted. She told me recently that the lyrics give her strength." The letter went on to tell Mia's own story. She had started taking piano lessons from her mother and later fell in love with music after her dad gifted her a second-hand guitar. Now she played in her high school's music club and covered Billie's songs whenever she could. "Last week we had a small concert at school," the letter continued. "I performed when the party's over. My mom was in the hospital that day, but my dad recorded it and showed it to her. She cried, Billie. But this time, she said she cried out of happiness." As Billie read the letter, time seemed to stand still in Sarah's office. Finneas came in at some point and, noticing his sister's state, sat quietly beside her. Together, they finished reading the last part of the letter. "Maybe this letter will never reach you. Maybe it'll get lost among the hundreds of others. But I had to write it because I want you to know you're not just making music, you're touching lives. You're giving hope to people like us, living in small towns and facing big challenges. If you ever find yourself in Montana, our door is always open." My mom still teaches your songs to her students. My dad starts his mornings with your music, and I'm working on perfecting your songs on my guitar. Music is what's keeping us going, and for that, we're forever grateful." When Billie finished the letter, tears were streaming down her face. Finneas hugged her as Sarah quietly left the room, giving them some space. "Finneas," Billie said, "we have to go to Montana." Her brother nodded. "I was just thinking the same thing." Plans were quickly made. Sarah adjusted Billie's schedule, and Finneas organized the music equipment. A week later, a small team set off for Montana, carrying carefully chosen gifts: a custom-designed guitar for Mia, a signed collection of piano sheet music for Emily, and a limited-edition vinyl collection for Thomas. When they arrived in Whispering Pines, the autumn wind was scattering leaves across the small town. The main street had a few shops, a post office, and a small cafe. The Thompson family's house was on a quiet street, a 2-story white home with a porch swing and flower boxes that Emily had tended to. As Billie knocked on the door, she heard the sound of a piano playing inside. Someone was playing. "When the party's over," Emily answered the door. The chemotherapy had taken her hair, but the light in her eyes remained. When she saw Billie, that light grew brighter. You're really..." Emily's voice trembled. "Hello, Mrs. Thompson," Billie said softly. "Mia's letter moved us deeply." Emily let out a small cry and called into the house, "Thomas! Mia! Come quickly." That evening, the Thompson home hosted a magical concert. Finneas played Emily's piano, Billie sang beside Mia, and Thomas sat in his old armchair. Neighbors heard the music and began gathering outside. Billie and Mia performed a duet, and Emily live-streamed the event for her students. As the night went on, Billie made a special announcement. "Mia," she said, "I want to share a dream of mine with you. Next month, I'm hosting a charity concert in Los Angeles. I want you to perform with me." Mia's eyes widened in disbelief. Emily and Thomas hugged each other tightly. But school," Mia stammered. "We thought of that too," Finneas said with a smile. "We spoke to your school. You've been awarded a music scholarship. You'll be studying at one of the best music schools in Los Angeles." That night, the Thompson house was filled with tears and laughter. Before leaving, Billie made one final promise. "This isn't an ending. It's a new beginning." A month later, when Mia took the stage at the charity concert in Los Angeles, a giant screen behind her displayed images of her small Montana town. Emily's students watched the concert via live stream, and Thomas had found a job as a technician at a Los Angeles music studio. As Billie and Mia performed "Everything I Wanted," the audience gave a standing ovation. Emily's treatment was showing positive results, and the doctors were optimistic. Years later, when Mia released her first album, the liner notes read, "Even in the darkest times, music can be our light." Thank you, Billie Eilish, for being not just a singer but a beacon of hope. And whenever Billie passed through Montana, she thought of the small town that sparked a big change and smiled. Because sometimes the most beautiful melodies come from the quietest struggles, and music will always remain the language of hope. This story became not just a tale of Billie Eilish and her fan, but a testament to how music unites people, spreads hope, and shows how small gestures can lead to profound changes. The journey that began in Whispering Pines inspired thousands of young musicians and marked a new chapter in Billie's career. Today, Whispering Pines hosts an annual festival of hope, where young musicians chase their dreams inspired by Mia's story. In Emily's music classroom, a photo from that special day still hangs on the wall. Billie, Mia, Emily, and Thomas all smiling with Montana's breathtaking sunset behind them. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more heartwarming tales. Also, share the most interesting fact you know about Billie Eilish in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts.